Hello everyone and welcome to this virtual walkthrough of the Common Application. The Common Application is quite long and can be very confusing, so today I'll be giving you advice on how to fill it out. So of course the first thing you need to do is create an account on the Common App website here. So you'll just go to create an account here at the top, and then you'll be prompted to select how you'll use this account. And once you do that, once you pick one of these, you'll be prompted to put in some basic information like your email, password, and etc. So I actually already have an existing account, so I'm just going to log in under the first year student portal. Just sign in here. So the first thing you'll see here is your dashboard. So this is going to show you all of the colleges that you've selected that you plan to apply for. It's going to show you all the requirements, what you have in progress, what you have and have not filled out. So up top we have the tabs, of course, dashboard, my colleges, common app, college search, and financial aid resources, and we will go through those as we go. So as you can see, I already have a few colleges selected. So to add more colleges to this selection, you just go to the college search tab. And then you will either search by the college name or the city name. So let's say you wanted to go to Columbia. So I would just type it in. Columbia College shows up, and I would just click the little plus there. And then you will be able to see all the colleges you selected under the My Colleges tab. They're all here along the side. And you'll need at least one college selected to be able to request your recommenders and start working on your supplemental essays over here. So make sure you do that as soon as you can. All right, so now for the fun part, we have the actual Common App. So when you open the Common App tab, you'll see a menu here on the left side with all the different sections that there are for you to fill out. So first we have the profile section, of course. So this is just some basic information, your name, your sex, and your date of birth. And you'll want to make sure as you go to look at these red asterisks. These questions you have to answer, they're required to be able to submit your application. So those are ones you have to fill out, and then other ones will be optional as you go, but they are some that you definitely should fill out anyway, and we'll go over those as we come to them. So next, after that, you just have some more basic information. You have your home address, you have your contact details, your phone number, and then you have demographics. So you'll notice that all of these demographic options are optional. So you don't have to fill these out to submit, but the information really can provide some helpful context to admissions officers about your background and who you are. So often this is a really, really good idea to fill out. Then you have your geography, so where you were born, where you've lived in the US if you have. And then next you have the languages section. So here you will tell them how many languages you are proficient in. And once you select one, these drop downs will come out and you can select your language from this list and you'll put your proficiency. So if it's your first language, if you can speak, read, write, etc. So this is a really great thing to fill out. It can really show kind of your cultural background. So if you have proficiency of any of these kinds in any languages, it's a really great idea to put these in. Next, you have your citizenship section. So this will be, depending on what you choose, you'll be prompted with your social security number and maybe some other questions. And then finally in the profile section, we have the Common App fee waiver. So the fee is different for submitting the Common App in your application for each college. So to find out if you are eligible for the waiver, you can just click the Learn More here, or you can talk to your guidance counselor and they should know. So that is all for the first section, the profile section. So this whole section is really going to provide more background and information about you that can give, again, some great context to your application. So there really isn't any right answer to any of these questions. The admissions officers really just want to know about your family circumstances so they have a better understanding of you and where you come from. So first you'll fill out your parents' marital status, where you permanently live, and if you have any children. And then you will go on to describe your parents. So, parent type, if they're living, you will give their name, country of birth, occupation, and education level. You might notice again that these are optional, but I would again highly recommend that you fill these in if you have this information. This is just a great way to provide, again, like I said, more context on you. So it might provide great context, perhaps if your parents didn't go to college and you're a first-generation student, this might give a lot of helpful information to admissions officers. So you will do that for a second parent as well, and then go on to your siblings. So you'll select how many siblings you have, and then if you have siblings, you will give some information about them. So as you can see, the family section as well as the profile section is all quite straightforward, pretty simple to answer, but there are, as you can see, a lot of questions. So my recommendation would be that you fill these out and start working on it as soon as possible, even if you aren't ready to fill out any other part of the application. It can really just relieve some stress, then you don't have to worry about these sections once you start writing your supplemental essays and going into the rest of the intensive part of the application. And speaking of, we will start with the real meat of the Common App and go into the Education tab here. So first you're going to select your current or most recent high school. So you can search by name, country, city, or CEEB code. I'm just going to search one here in New Haven and add that because we'll need that information later. So then you'll select your date of entry. So when you first started high school, whether it's a boarding school, if it is, you will answer these questions. And then you will go through and indicate if you have any special circumstances that affect your progression, so graduating early, late, taking time off, a gap year, etc. And then this next part is essential. So this is your counselor, your high school counselor's information, so their name, title, and email. So like I said, this is essential. If your college or admissions officers have any questions about you or your application, they will go straight to the counselor. So it's really vital that they have this information and are able to contact them with any questions. Next, if you attended any other school during your high school career, maybe you switched high schools in the middle, you will find that other school. If you select that you did go to any other schools, you'll select how many. You will say your start date and end date, and then given a little explanation of why you moved schools. So maybe, if your parent changed jobs or if there was an expulsion, you will put that here. Next, you'll indicate if you took any coursework at a college or university. You'll find the college, give the details on the type of course it was, and the start and end date, and then any degree earned. And then next, this is another essential part of the education section. You will give your approximate class size, so how many people you're graduating with, and then move on to ranking. So go through how your school ranks people in your class. So, top of class, if they do it exactly, first, second, third in class, and so on. If they do it by a percentage, quintile, or quartile, or if they do not do ranking at all. Then once you select one, you will put in what your rank is and if there is any weighting. And you will do the same for GPA. You'll say what scale it's on, your GPA, and weighting. So if you do not have your ranking or you don't know how your school does it, just put in NA in this section. Or you can ask your guidance counselor and they should know how your school does ranking if they do so. But if you don't have it, just put down NA and it is completely fine. Then you will go into the courses that you're taking this year, your senior year, or if you're out of school, the courses you took in the most recent academic year. So you will go through and say how many classes you would like to report. Once you do, you'll say if you're on a semester, trimester, or quarter, and then give information on the courses, the title, the level, and so on. Next, we have the honors section. So this is where you'll put any honors, achievements, awards, prizes you've won. You'll notice here that you can only do a maximum of 5, so you'll really want to be strategic and choose the one, as they said, that are most important to you and that you think will be most impressive to admissions officers. So here you'll put the honor title. You'll only have 100 characters here, so you'll really want to be strategic there of how you describe it. You'll put what grade level, the type of recognition, and you'll do this for all 5. So next we have community-based organizations. So this will be if you had any free assistance or services that helped you with your application. So you'll just choose how many you have. And so these might be things like Achieve Program, A Better Chance, and you will go and you will pick which one you received the most help from, fill out mentor information, and then your other organizations if there were any. And finally, in the education section, we have future plans. Now, this is a section that can be extremely stressful for students if they aren't exactly sure what they want to study in college or do in the future. My biggest piece of advice here would be not put undecided. Undecided can indicate to admissions officers that you haven't thought much about your future. So you'll really want to pick one of these from the drop-down list. Just remember that this is not binding. If you choose accountant and you don't want to study that, you end up finding out once you get to college. That's totally fine. This isn't binding and you can change your mind. And then you'll, of course, here put it in your highest degree that you intend to earn. After that, we have the all-important testing section. So once you take your standardized tests, your ACT or SAT, you will report those directly to the school, but it's also a good idea to self-report here. So I would click yes, and then you can go through in the drop-down menu and choose which type of test you would like to submit. So doing that, if I just chose ACT test, I will see the drop-down here for ACT test. So I will just go into this. I can say how many scores I wish to report, if it was a plus writing test, if I do any future sittings, and then of course all of your scores and the dates of taking them. And then if you're an international student who took a senior secondary leaving exam, you will fill out this section. And then you can do this for all of the tests you've taken, so you can select all of these and go through them. So after you've done all that, you will move on to the activities section. So the Common App will ask you if you have any extracurriculars activities that you wish to report. You should always say yes. This is a huge part of the application that can really show admissions officers what you like to do outside of the classroom, what you've achieved outside the classroom, what you're interested in, and is really just going to give them a better idea of who you are and what you want to do with your time. So as you can see in this section here, you will select from a drop-down menu what kind of activity it was, what your position was, and then you'll have 150 characters to describe what you did. This is not a lot of space, so I would say definitely be strategic and spend time brainstorming and editing this section so you can make it sound as impressive and as good as possible. You select your grade levels, when you participated, and the hours you spent, and if you'd like to participate in a similar activity in college. And then you'll see you have the option to add another activity up to 10. My recommendation would be that you should use all 10 slots. You really want to show admissions officers that you were impressive, that you were doing a lot of exciting things during high school, that you weren't just spending all of your time studying, or that you were lazy. So I'd say definitely try to brainstorm and fill out all 10 slots if possible. You may also be stressed and have a lot of activities that you think you can't fit into just 10 slots. Just like the honors section, I would say brainstorm, really think about what you've done and decide which 10 are the most applicable to your college application, which are the most impressive, and which match up with what you want to do in the future. So after that, we have the writing section. So this is the all-important personal statement. As you can see, most schools require it, but not all. So you will select your prompt from the 6 prompts below and then put in your personal statement here that can only be 650 words. So you want to make sure you're staying within that. Make sure you are extra careful and you're selecting the right prompt from that list. It'll be really confusing to admissions officers if you select the wrong one and answer a different question. So make sure you spend your time looking over these prompts, brainstorming topics, and decide which one is right for you. And if none of them are really jumping out at you, there is an option to write about a topic of your choice, so keep this in mind as you brainstorm. Next, you have your disciplinary history section. So if you ever were found of a disciplinary violation, here is your chance to write about it. This is a really important section to write about and reflect on what you learned from the experience and how you've grown. Admissions officers really want to see that you've evolved and changed since then so that they're sure you won't participate in similar activities or violations during college. You see here you have a max of 400 words. And then we have the additional information section. My advice here would be to be very careful here. Admissions officers read thousands of pages of applications. The last thing you want to do is bore them or waste their time and make them read something that doesn't really add anything to your application or just duplicates information that they can find elsewhere. So a potential way you could use this section is providing context for a downward trend in GPA or low grade. So for example, if there was a death in your family and it impacted your performance on a final exam, you could write about that so it would clear up any worries about your grades. You should definitely not use this section to extend your personal statement or your activities list. These sections have word limits for a reason, and the admissions officers are not going to be pleased if you use this section to try to cheat your way into having a larger word count or more space. And finally, we will have the courses and grades section. So as you can see, not every college will require this, but some do. If your colleges that you've selected don't require this, this won't pop up and you'll just be prompted to move on. But if you do, you will be required to fill this out. And even if you do, you will still have to send your official transcript to your college. So make sure your counselor does that on your behalf. And then you'll just go through and fill out your courses for each year. So you will go into each grade, select your school, and then go through all of your courses subjects, course name, course level, of course, adding your grading scale and schedule, and doing this for each year of high school and other additional courses if necessary. And then you'll see that we're done here with the main part of the Common App, and we're prompted to go to the My Colleges tab. So here you'll see, again, all of the colleges that I've selected that I want to apply to. And you'll see that if you select one, you will be brought to all of their contact information, their deadlines, and other important information like fees. And on the side here, you'll see the questions and recommenders tab. So this will look different for each college depending on what they require from you. So as you can see, for Northwestern, we have some general information about your entry term and waivers. You'll see academics, what school you're applying to. We have activities, which we already filled out in the main Common App section, and then we have contact. So this will ask you if you've previously applied to this school, and then ask how you learned about Northwestern. So this can be a really great way of showing your interest in the school if you're able to show that you attended campus information sessions or went on a campus visit. This can really show a college that you are very interested in them and really want to go to their school. After that, you have family. So this is basically just going to ask you if you have any family or relatives that have gone to the university or are employed there, and this is their way of finding out if you're a legacy student or if you're applying as a twin. Then you have more disciplinary information, which is similar to what you already filled out in the Common Application, and then you'll have your supplemental essays. So as you can see for Northwestern, they just have the Why Northern statement. For other colleges, they will have more supplemental essays or short responses that you need to figure out. For some colleges, they will also have some short answers hidden throughout these other tabs, maybe like academics. For short responses, you'll have to answer, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. So after your supplemental essays, you will go on to the recommender section, and it will ask you to release authorization for your counselors or parents or anyone else that you would like to have access to view or make changes on your application depending on their role. So the most important part here is giving authorization to your recommenders. So these are the people you asked to write your letters of recommendation. They will need to be able to sign in and add your letters that they wrote, so they will be attached to your application. So you will just complete this release authorization here, and then you will be able to put in their contact information, and then they will go in and make their own Common App account and upload their letters, fill out a ranking about you, and then it will be linked to your account. So definitely go through this process, do this. And then lastly, you will have review and submit. So as you can see, we are not able to submit now. We did not fill out all of these sections, but once you do, you will be able to go through and review each section, which you should definitely do. Make sure to read everything carefully several times before you submit. Check for errors and typos. This is your college application after all, so it's very important that it's as perfect as possible. So once you do that, you'll be able to submit and you'll have sent in your college application. So there you have it. That's the Common Application. Hope this walkthrough helped you understand how to fill out the application. For more advice on how to best fill out these specific sections like the personal statement or your activities list, you can always check out our blog that is linked below. All right, see you later. Bye.